You know, in Japan, you know how like in manners when they actually eat something is, they say itadakimasu. Well, then what if like, like when a man and a woman is about to, have sex in Japan? I mean, do they say itadakimasu, in the middle? I think I butchered it. That was a terrible joke. You know what? Let's just, let's move on. So yeah, let's just get started. Come on, guys. This is my Dragon Ball Super Broly review. So Dragon Ball Super Broly came out early this year in 2019. I think it was around, January. And is also directed by Tatsuya Nagamine, also supervised and story and co-written by Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball. So I have a history with Dragon Ball, especially Dragon Ball Z. I didn't grow up with cable, so I grew up with those like old like reruns that came out in network television. But I remember severely the Rock the Dragon introduction, which is a badass introduction, mind you. And I grew up with the censored version. It's not until like I basically like grew out of the phase. I mean, I didn't really grow up completely with it. I grew up with some episodes when I was a kid, but I wasn't really much of a fan. And then in high school, I just, never really fully got into it until like around senior year. And that's when like I like watched like the Saiyan Saga uncut for the first time on Blu-ray, because I think that's not too long ago when the Blu-rays like came out. And I instantly got hooked, and actually this became my favorite show of all time. And it still is. Now I was actually really excited when I found out that Broly was about to be canon, because Broly, like when they actually were making the movies back in the day, he wasn't really canon, and also I just thought that he was kind of a little generic, but he actually had potential this whole entire time. And finally, they actually got him justice. So let's get into the... So Dragon Ball Super Broly's plot is really not much, into depth, but mostly the subplots are the more into depth. So it just follows Goku and Vegeta fighting Broly around in an Arctic place. Especially that Paragus, Broly's son, actually wants vengeance against Vegeta because King Vegeta exiled him and Broly because Broly was actually a more powerful baby Saiyan compared to Vegeta when he was a baby. It's a lot. You basically gotta see the movie, what's going on. There's a lot of backstory, and that's just, a lot to, delve deep to, which I can't really delve deep to. So yeah, the plot is very simplistic, and Vegeta and Goku has to face Broly, while Broly has to also face his inner demons by, should I go against my father, or should I just, have free will? So yeah, I can't really delve much deep into it. It's just like two against one. And if I spoil too much, then I'm basically spoiling the entire movie, so I'm just gonna be very vague with this one. One thing that I love about this movie is the animation. Like, Shintani's animation is phenomenal. I love that it's hand-drawn. It seems that it's painted compared to its Flash animation that's currently right now on TV. And I just love the facial expressions in everybody. Goku, Vegeta, and just Broly. Like, everybody's just... You can see the drawings and pencils and animation just, like, wrinkled down. And I just love that. It's so cool. I've never thought that Dragon Ball ever looked this great. And it looks way better than what's being shown on TV, mind you. And the fights are really phenomenal. Like, every time they throw a punch, you can feel it. Like, it's very, like, ooh, it feels very violent, but it's so cool. Especially when they actually get down to, like, the fighting. And just, like, oh my god. Like, especially when Goku is fighting Broly, Vegeta fighting Broly, and then when, like, there's a new character in, which I'm not really gonna tell you unless you've seen the movie. Like, this new character that finally became canon is when he's fighting Broly. I'm just gonna say it, Gogeta. Yeah, I'm just glad that Gogeta is now canon. Who is Gogeta? Well, that's when Goku and Vegeta uses the fusing technique, and then they fuse into one entity, and that is Gogeta. It's pretty cheesy, but I love it. Who doesn't love, cheesiness? It's pretty badass, It's really awesome. Suimoto's score is just so cool. Like, he actually, like, composed the score for Dragon Ball Z Kai, the final chapters, well, Dragon Ball Kai, but whatever. I call it Z Kai because it's basically Dragon Ball Z. And he also, like, did the score for Dragon Ball Super, the TV show. And now since he scored this is phenomenal. Like, I love the Gogeta versus Broly score. And my other favorite score is Kakarot versus Broly, because, I mean, it's just so cool, it's pumped up. So if you don't know who Kakarot is, So if you know who Kakarot is, it's basically Goku, but that's his original Saiyan name before he came to Earth. Because it's kind of like a Superman backstory, but more of a Journey to the West kind of story. And my number one thing that I love about this movie is Broly himself. Because I just love how he was redesigned by Shintani. And Akira Toriyama, because it's just so cool. Like, you just see how rugged he is, and he's just so violent and menacing, and he just looks more like a Saiyan rather than a Saiyan looking prince from the original movies. And I love that despite all of that anger that's all like embedded from the outside of his look, inside he's just a confused person, like, who doesn't know how to like react and doesn't know how to control his feelings. And I love that, since I watched the English dub, I love that Vic Mignogna gave it his all with this. Like, ay, Prince, why every video? And since I grew up with the English dub most of the time, I mean, I love watching in Japanese. It's an amazing way to also watch it. But I'm more fond of the English dub. So, like, I'm just so glad that Vic Mignogna, like, came back to voice Broly. Because he voiced him in English dub in the original trilogy, and he just came back to voice Broly. And wow, he gave it his all. Like, every time Broly screams, like, it's just, like, you feel every ounce of pain that he's been going through. Like, he's been through his whole entire life. And now let's get on to the Blu-ray review itself. Now this Blu-ray basically looks and sounds amazing, despite, you know, there is a, I can't say light green tint on it compared to when I first saw it on theaters for the first time. But, I mean, it's not as apparent. It's very apparent in the main menu, which is odd. But in the movie itself, it's just, you know, not that noticeable, you know, to my eyes. Even I have my TV pretty calibrated too, but I do notice it a bit brighter than when I first saw it, so yeah. But basically, if I were to have a flaw with the Blu-ray, which is, I mean, it's nothing much to say. It's an animated movie that's in high definition, and it looks and sounds great. I love the surround sound in it. But my problem with the Blu-ray is just the false advertisement when it came to Amazon, which it includes, and I'm not screwing with you, is Vic Mignogna's interview, and they cut him completely from the bonus features. They didn't cut him from the movie itself, which is great, but what I don't like is that when you read the runtime of the bonus features, like 45 minutes, you can tell they cut out at least 5 minutes of it. And I know those 5 minutes were dedicated to Vic Mignogna. And there is a scandal going around, and I'm not going to tell you my opinion. And I just, whether he's guilty or not, which, if he's guilty or not, in my opinion, I don't freaking care, okay? You include this man's credit into the Blu-ray in the bonus features. I also just love the message behind the movie, you know, like free will and, you know, just think for yourself, and you don't have to shape the person that you wanna, you know, that you want the world to be. I mean, just be who you are. I mean, the world does not really fully control you. I mean, technically sometimes, but in this case, I just feel like I love that these characters are just showing that you don't have to be this certain way just because your father or your mother or whoever, how society wants to paint you. Just think for yourself. And my message is always gonna be this, like, think for yourself. Like, form your own opinion. Opinion is never going to be a fact. Art is subjective. It's never going to be fully objective. I mean, you can see some things in an objective point of view, but really, like, it's still going to be subjective at the end of the day. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review of Dragon Ball Super Broly. I'm sorry that it was a little vague. Well, I mean, I didn't make a script again this time, but I mean, I just want you guys to experience it for yourself and make up your own mind. In fact, speaking of that, let me know what you guys think of Dragon Ball Super Broly. Are you guys willing to check it out? Are you guys willing to buy the Blu-ray? Let me know what you guys think. If you guys want to see more of this, just don't forget to like and subscribe. And on that note, this is Javi from JAVIWOOD Productions signing off.